Good evening, everyone. We're calling this a journey, right? We are on a journey of life. And so we started in creation with God taking the dust, the soil, and forming us. Humans were formed, and then he blew into us, and we had life. That was from Genesis 2. And so we've been on this journey, right? We're looking for symbols. We're looking for signs of God's love, that God's our God, that we are God's children. He fills Abraham and Sarah with faith, and they are the father and mother of our faith. For all nations will be blessed through their faith. So this everlasting relationship, this covenant, we're on this journey toward the resurrection, when the New Jerusalem will be revealed, when God's kingdom will be revealed. That'll be the end of the journey as we know it, or the beginning of the journey, depending on how you look at it. But right now in Lent, right, we're on a journey from Ash Wednesday to the resurrection of our Lord. And all along the way, God has given us stories of how God loved people, how people have loved God. And we've touched upon different lives, different stories. Tonight will be a pope of the Roman Catholic Church, the 64th pope. His name was Gregory. He was deemed the Great because of the so many influential things that he accomplished that continue to affect the church today. Namely, he was very protective of how the church spoke about essential matters. So like how Jesus is God in the flesh. There were a lot of disagreements and bad teachings. So he was very disciplined in helping people hold on to the essentials of the incarnation. So we'll talk about that. The church had a lot of resources. And in the 500s, when he was alive, and early 600s, it was Black Death. And a third of the population died. And so he mobilized the church resources to meet the needs of those who couldn't help themselves, whether they needed fed or they needed shelter. He was great at mobilizing resources throughout the countries and the known world so as to meet the needs of those who were suffering, which were a lot. He also admonished people, clergy and parishioners. He wouldn't let anybody get away with anything. He once caught a priest steal from the church, and then that priest died soon after. And he at one point said that was God's judgment upon him. Throw him on the dung pile and let's be done with it. But then he reconsidered, he reflected, and honored his brother priest, even though he sinned against the church and stole from it. But he wasn't afraid to discipline and hold people accountable to the measure that God gives us in the scriptures. And the last part that he's celebrated as being great for, which I found fascinating, was his managerial skills. And he was very detail-oriented